everyone, I am Kimberly, the 5-Minute NP. The 5-Minute NP was born out of my belief that small, incremental changes can drastically change the trajectory of your life. Our genes do not have to determine our lifespan. My goal through this podcast is to act as a roadmap that bridges the gap between knowledge and action, leading to you living your healthiest, happiest, longest life. Welcome to the 5-Minute NP podcast. Hello everyone, welcome to the 5-Minute NP podcast. On today's episode, Tavarus Hogans, founder and owner of True7 CBD, a premium CBD company that focuses on promoting an active lifestyle pain-free. Today, he discusses most everything you need to know about CBD and the impact that it can have on your life. This was a fun, informative interview with Tavarus that you shouldn't miss. Welcome to the 5-Minute NP podcast. Hi, Tavarus. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks. How about you?
I'm good. I'm ready to talk about CBD.
Let's do it. I am also.
So first, I want to know a little bit about yourself and how your journey with CBD oil began and what True7 CBD is all about.
Okay, I'll give you a little bit about myself because there's so much. My name is Tavarus Hogans. I actually live in Jacksonville, Florida. My background is the wine and spirits industry, and my journey with CBD began probably March-ish of 2019. The Farm Bill just came out in 2018, late in 2018, that legalized CBD. But with that, I wasn't even aware of the Farm Bill and hemp and CBD and all of that. But CBD just kept coming across my desk. There were some friends of mine that was in the industry, and I had gotten a couple emails. And then there was one guy that was a trusted advisor. He sent me an email, and I said, listen, let me pay attention to this CBD thing because it keeps coming across my desk. Long story, boring. Fast forward, November of 2019, we launched True7 CBD, and here we are today. Just celebrated $1,000 in sales, our largest month to date.
That's awesome. So do you use CBD oil yourself?
Interesting question. So my background is in athletics. Not that that means anything because there are a lot of athletes that do use supplements and different things, but I've always been highly in tune with my body. And I grew up in the era where the commercials ran, they had the egg in the frying pan and it said, this is your brain on drugs. And it was the egg frying in the frying pan. And I was a pretty intellectual kid growing up. So I was like, man, if I use drugs, my brain is going to fry. So I've been clean my entire life, like through athletics, the whole nine. I don't even like taking ibuprofen. I was at a CBD conference one day and, standing for 14, 15, 16 hours a day. And on the third day, my calf muscles were just dying. And my manufacturer was there, and I had been complaining about the pain for the last 2 days. And it never dawned on me that I could use these products to make myself better. And I was like, man, I'm such an idiot. Like, I'm selling a quote unquote cure, but I'm not taking my own medicine. And thus began my journey with CBD. So yes, I do use it.
That is hilarious. Well, I have to tell you too, I kind of had the same perception of CBD oil. And earlier in this year, I was suffering with awful back pain, like really limiting my life. And I'm trying to finish up my program. And my kids wanted me to try some CBD oil. Mom, I'm going to get this for you. It's going to help you. I'm like, there is no way I am doing that stuff. I mean, you realize I'm becoming a nurse practitioner. I can't be doing that stuff. But the truth is I just didn't know enough about it. And in hindsight, it probably would have really, really helped me.
Absolutely. Most of the stigmas behind a lot of things, but definitely CBD in particular, is just the lack of information, the lack of knowledge. Like, people don't know. And if you don't know, you really can't make an informed decision.
Right. I started to become more interested in it. And I really look forward to having you on today because I've had patients tell me, one lady, she was suffering with severe knee pain, could barely walk. And she's like, I started using the oil and it went away. I'm like, seriously? Wow. I mean, that's a big deal, especially as you get older, you're dealing with all kinds of aches and pains, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, being able to get up and move around and function without pain, I mean, there's no dollar amount that you can put on that. And, pain is one of those things where a lot of people suffer in silence because pain isn't something that you can see on the outside. It's often internal. And there are so many people that are walking around with pain that we just don't see, and they don't have any answers. They don't have anywhere to turn.
You are so right about that. I mean, that's kind of how I was doing it. I never took anything, just healthy vitamins. And then, during all that, I was down in ibuprofen and Tylenol and taking them together. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so I seriously wish I would have tried it back then. I think it would have really helped me. But I want to jump into what CBD oil is and what CBD stands for.
So CBD stands for cannabidiol. It's kind of a difficult term to pronounce, but basically cannabidiol, it's a chemical compound that's produced by hemp plants. It's basically a chemical compound that comes from plants.
Okay, so that was what I was going to ask you next, because I see hemp oil, CBD oil, THC, and I don't know what the difference is with all that. And I thought maybe you could explain that a little more.
Absolutely. This is a great question. And I love this question because it's one of those difficult ones that's confusing, but it can be simplified. So let's look at the plant. With the plant, you have stems, you have roots, you have seeds, and you have the actual leaves. So if we can break down CBD, THC, marijuana, hemp, marijuana is actually the leaves. That's the leaf of the plant. Hemp is the stem, the stalks, the seeds, the roots, everything else. So those are the two differences there. CBD is a compound that's found in that plant, and THC is a compound that's also found in the plant. Now, different plants have varying levels of those compounds. Hemp plants have to be less than 0.3% THC, and THC is the compound that gives you that euphoria feeling. So simplified, hemp and marijuana are part of the same plant. Marijuana is the leaf, hemp is the stalks, seeds, roots, etc. CBD is a compound in the plant, THC is a compound in the plant also.
Okay, so basically it's the percentage that's kind of making the difference.
The percentage is making the difference in hemp. Okay. So to be a hemp plant, it has to be less than 0.3% THC. If it's more than that, it's considered a cannabis plant.
Oh, okay. So using CBD isn't going to affect your brain memory as much as maybe marijuana would?
That's one of those things I try not to touch. The FDA, because it hasn't been regulated, and there are a lot of theorists that have their own opinion on why it isn't regulated, why it's a Schedule I narcotic, all of that. They are really particular about us making claims of what it does and what it doesn't do.
Yeah.
So I've been advised not to touch that one specifically.
That makes sense. Well, so you said in 2018 is when CBD became legal. Is that right?
Yes.
Does that vary by state? Does state have different, or is it just everywhere?
So the legislation that was passed in 2018 was for all states. So the Farm Bill, the Hemp Farming Act, made hemp legal in all 50 states. CBD is a byproduct of hemp, and CBD is legal so long as it has less than 0.3% THC. Okay. So if you have a product that has a higher percentage than that, then it's not legal.
Okay. So you were saying is CBD not regulated?
It's loosely regulated. It's a restricted industry. And the FDA, I think it takes like 7 years for FDA testing and different things of that nature. So the FDA, they hadn't made concrete designations for CBD right now.
Okay. I was wondering about that because, you know, you kind of wonder what you're getting. I mean, I see CBD sold at the gas station. I mean, it's kind of like, how do you know what you're getting?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one also. What I suggest to people, first and foremost, is if you're buying a product, make sure they have testing. The first thing you want to do is see if they have a certificate of analysis, which lets you know that they have testing. The second thing you want to do is you want to ask and inquire about the testing, because unfortunately, they've cut some corners with their testing. So the first thing is ask questions about their testing, make sure they're transparent with their testing. And by engaging in asking more questions, most of us are pretty good judges of character. If individuals are forthcoming with their testing, forthcoming with their processes, you can probably bet that they're a pretty reputable company.
Okay. So CBD isn't supposed to give you that high feeling like marijuana, but what are the effects that people can expect with using CBD oil?
Yeah. And I probably shouldn't say this matter of factly, but CBD doesn't give you that high or euphoric feeling. THC is what's responsible for that. And again, with CBD, I'm going to be reluctant to make claims of what it could do, but there is tons of anecdotal evidence of people that have experienced X. They've taken CBD and it's helped with a multitude of conditions. And many of us know what those things are.
So from what I was kind of going with is like people can use it for just minor aches and pains, arthritic conditions, but also maybe for anxiety to help relax you, maybe get better sleep.
I've heard all of those. What CBD does, it binds with your endocannabinoid system. So we have receptors in our body, and you understand this terminology, but our endocannabinoid system, it regulates our moods. So when we're supposed to be awake and alert, there are receptors that are responsible for that. When we're supposed to be winding down and our mood is supposed to be changing, there are receptors that are responsible for that. Over the day, those things that are responsible for those moods, they erode and they deteriorate, which is why we need sleep to recharge those. What CBD does, it binds to those and helps support whatever those receptors are responsible for. So for instance, people say, well, how does CBD make me alert and it could help me go to sleep? It binds to those receptors that are responsible for keeping us up and alert. And then the receptors that kick in when we're supposed to be relaxed and winding down, it binds to those and helps support those moods also. So it supports what our natural system should be doing. And a lot of these cannabinoids, they're naturally occurring in our body.
Okay. So in your opinion, does CBD oil have a place in healthcare?
Great question, and I'm glad you asked my opinion, even though the FDA, they don't like us to give our opinions. And I hope they're not listening, because
I don't think they will. We're good.
yeah, I don't know. You've got a huge following. In my opinion, it does. And the reason I got into the business, I was at a conference and I heard a story about a lady who, her kid was having over 100 seizures a day. And she was risking her safety going across the border into Canada to get CBD oil to treat her kid. And the seizures reduced from like over 100 a day to like 1 a day. Hearing that story, and then a friend of mine, that was suffering from PTSD, and he just told me a horrific story about a dream he had involving his daughter and all of that. And after hearing some of these emotional, impactful stories and how CBD helped bring a lot of normalcy back to their life, I knew it was a space that I had to get in a space that I had to be in. So based on anecdotal evidence from trusted associates and consumers, I believe CBD certainly has a place in healthcare. Is it the answer? There isn't one answer, but to your question, is there a lane for it? Absolutely.
You know, it's funny you bring up the seizure thing, because now I think back to this chiropractor I took care of in the urgent care who left his practice as a chiropractor to get more involved with CBD because he had seen the effects on a child and somebody else with decreasing their seizures from multiple times a day to nearly none.
Yes. And if you have the ability to affect someone's life in that manner, most people are going to jump at that opportunity 100 times a day. So kudos to him.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a kind of fun question here. So I've had patients in the urgent care ask me if they're going to fail the drug test because they've used CBD oil. And quite honestly, I didn't know how to answer that because I didn't really know much about it. So you can answer that.
What makes this question fun?
I hear it quite often.
So I'm going to say it is highly unlikely.
Okay.
First off, drug tests, they don't test for CBD, but I know that's not the real question. The question is, by taking CBD, will THC show up on a drug test? Drug tests, they don't test for THC. They don't test for marijuana. They test for a protein that is present in your body that marijuana triggers. So if you take marijuana, there's a certain protein that shows up. If someone is highly concerned about this, I personally would not recommend it because I'm not willing to put my reputation, my brand, or their reputation on the line and say it is 100% absolutely unequivocally it will not show up, because we've gotten false positives, we've gotten, bad tests and all of that. So I'm not going to put somebody's livelihood in jeopardy. What I would say is, again, it is highly unlikely. There are trace amounts, if any, THC in most CBD products. Oftentimes it's undetectable in the product, so it's not likely to produce the protein that ingesting a high level of THC would present. But furthermore, I was doing some research last week on THC testing, because to your point, we do get this question a lot. And I came across an article that said some of the THC testing has raised the level of proteins that have to be present for you to get a negative or a positive THC test. So regulations are lightening when it comes to THC testing.
I think that, I guess, if more healthcare providers would be on board with it, I don't know if they could write a prescription. I mean, I don't think I could do that. But I think as far as the drug testing thing, if you had some kind of written thing or something that said, I'm taking this for medicinal purposes or something like that, might help people out.
I can't imagine. I don't know if, I think it's going to be hard to, well, I don't want to say that. What I was going to say is, I think it's going to be hard for THC to be a prescription drug, I believe, with the way that it's going. The challenge right now is dollars. Like, how do we capture the dollars and capitalize? There is no reason, in my opinion, that THC should be a Schedule I narcotic with some of the other just immensely damaging narcotics that are there. So I believe the powers that be, they're just trying to figure out the right way to transition. It definitely has to be regulated. I'm 17 years in the wine and spirits industry, and wine and spirits, they cause different behaviors, so it needs to be regulated. THC, same thing. It needs to be regulated. So as soon as we get some regulation, I think we'll be in a better place with it. And the reason I say I believe it's going to be difficult for it to be like a prescription type thing, if you have a medical card, you can go to a dispensary and get whatever the supply is that you need. Now, obviously there are limitations, but I don't know if they can go back and restrict it to the level where I can only go to a doctor to get a prescription for this.
Okay.
I hope it's not that highly regulated.
Yeah. Well, what about the side effects? Are there any side effects that we need to know about with CBD use?
So with anything, with the beneficial side effects and the negative side effects, we hadn't heard a lot of side effects. People have different things. There are people that smoke marijuana and they're allergic to it. You know, there's diarrhea, vomiting as a result of that use. There is diarrhea and vomiting as a result of using. Some people have those same symptoms if they use aspirin, Tylenol, ibuprofen. So as the positive results will vary based on the individual, the side effects also vary based on the individual. You know, we've heard people having appetite issues. Some people like the appetite suppression effects. I'm not saying that it does that, but some people, you know, have had issues with that. So the side effects, they vary, you know, based on the individual.
Okay. What are the different ways that people can use CBD oil?
Sublingually, a lot of people suggest putting it under the tongue.
Okay. So that's the quickest absorption, probably.
Yep. I for some reason I used to take zinc pills, I think to help my immune system, and I would put it under my tongue to get in the system quicker. There are also edibles, True7 CBD. We have gummies. There's a pure isolate that's the highest concentration form of CBD. The FDA says we can't put it in food. I've been told some people sprinkle the isolate in some of their foods. We've got a great customer that uses it in orange juice. She loves it that way. Topically, we have an amazing roll-on, creams, balms. We have a cosmetic line that's focused on continuing and keeping beautiful skin. But currently, our best seller, it's our flower right now, the pre-roll, inhalation. It's one of the quickest forms also, and it has one of the highest absorption rates. Wow.
So CBD oil is good for your skin?
In my opinion, it's been great for my skin.
Okay, good to know. I had no idea. So also, I was seeing something as I was kind of doing some research, and CBD oil can be used for pets?
It can. So interesting story. We used to have two min pins. One was named Penny, and we have one named Watson. And we got Watson because Penny was kind of lonely. She was walking around with her tail tucked. And Sherlock Holmes' partner, what's his partner? Watson. So when we got Watson, we was like, we're gonna name him Watson so Penny would have a partner in crime. Min pins have been known to have heart conditions. So Penny was on like 10 meds a day. She was taking 5 meds in the morning, 5 at night. And one day we just, you know, lost her to an enlarged heart and other things going on with her heart. And our second dog, Watson, he started experiencing this same stuff. He would have a dry cough to kind of get his heart rhythm back going. You know, reverse sneezing is one thing that the doctor said he was experiencing. And when they prescribed him the same pills that they prescribed Penny, it didn't sit well with me. First off, I was never a dog lover, and anybody that's a dog lover, like, geez, they're just, I mean, once they just capture your heart. And when Penny passed, I never imagined I would feel the kind of pain that I felt, when she passed. So when they gave me those same pills, it just was not a good feeling. It was a sad day. So we gave him the pills, and the doctors were telling us that things were getting better. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this pure isolate pet CBD that I have. And literally he would go from just dry cough about 6 times a day. He's down to maybe like once a week. Sometimes he'll go 2 weeks and we only hear him cough 1 time. So I don't know what it can or can't do, but for my dog, I am definitely a firm believer in it.
I was thinking about with the 4th of July and the fireworks coming up, maybe it'd be a good idea to use CBD with pets. They're, for the ones that are so afraid of it.
Yeah, I've seen it work for anxiety. And the thing with pets, like babies, they can't talk, they can't communicate. So we have an even more immense love for them. And they are so loving. Like if humans could be like pets, we'd be living in a beautiful world.
Oh my goodness. Isn't that the truth? God, maybe more people just need to start doing CBD.
Yeah. And listen, maybe they should just,
bit.
yeah, maybe they should just take pet CBD. So our pet CBD, it's a pure isolate. It's safe for humans. It's the same product that humans use. So.
Wow. Yeah, I like that idea. That's a good one. So let's just talk a little bit about the difference between, with essential oils. There's a big thing about getting the organic essential oils for purity. Is that the same way with CBD oil?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you believe.
Okay.
Organic for me, because I haven't had any experience to tell me different, but in the wine and spirits industry, it just seems like a buzzword. And in a lot of other industries, it seems like a buzzword. And to be certified organic is different than people just saying they're organic. And what's the true long-term benefit? There's probably, testing and evidence out there. I'm not aware of it. As long as your CBD is pure, as long as you can show quality testing, as long as you're doing business with reputable growers and reputable manufacturers, everybody is going to be able to get a healthy dose of CBD, and it's going to be beneficial.
So maybe I shouldn't buy the lollipops at the gas station.
I'll answer that question off the record.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your company specifically and the difference in your products.
So True7 CBD, we have 44 SKUs, and we're a full service CBD line. We try to give the customer everything that they desire. Our focus is on our terpene, on our tincture or our oil line. We've got 19 different oils, a multitude of different milligram concentrations, and 5 different flavors. Our flavors are based on terpenes. So the biggest difference between my line and conventional lines out there is our line is terpene based. We focus on myrcene, beta C, linalool, and limonene. And terpenes, when they combine with CBD, they give what's called this entourage effect. And it's a more impactful effect. And so some of the terpenes that people are familiar with, there are terpenes that are in essential oils that people, light candles with. There are terpenes in pepper, some of your household cleaners, different things like that. They're all naturally occurring. A lot of them come from flowers. A lot of them come from plants, and they put them in these different things to help enhance the effect of it. Similar to CBD, we add the terpenes to CBD, and it enhanced the effect of the CBD. In addition to that, we have higher milligram concentrations than the average. The average CBD company, they probably go up to 1,000 mg concentration. My background is in sports. So a lot of our clients, they're former athletes or they're competitive people. And sometimes 1,000 mg doesn't touch some of the things that they're experiencing. So our terpene line starts at 1,500 mg. We have a 1,500, we have a 2,500, and we have a 5,000 mg. So our point of differentiation is the terpene baseline and the higher milligram concentrations.
Wow. Okay. What sport, by the way?
So in high school, I like to start back then. I tried to play everything. I ran track. I played baseball, played basketball, played football. I would work out playing tennis. If I had time to play tennis, I probably would have been at least a 3 seat, maybe a 4 seat on the tennis team. And if I was smart enough, I would have picked up golf in high school, but just didn't have time. Went to college on a football scholarship. So football ended up being the main sport.
Oh, wow. So what position?
I played wide receiver.
Okay. So my 12-year-old's a quarterback.
I like it.
And I can't even believe I let him play football. I've taken a lot of heat for letting my child play football these days. I'll tell you that. They're like, you're a nurse practitioner, you let your kid play football? But yeah, he loves it. And he thinks he's the next Tom Brady.
Listen, I think he's the next Tom Brady. I love it.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. Football, it's a great game. I believe any sport that forces you to compete and have to get better and look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm at this level. If I want to have success, I'm going to have to work to get there, because none of this is going to be given to you. It's just a great metaphor for life. And it's tough. I don't have kids, but the question always is, would I let my kid play football? And football is taking a toll on my body. You know, we were talking before, it's that pain that you can't see. But football has given me a lot of life also. My focus is player safety. And if he's in a league where safety is a priority and he desires to play, you got to let him play. And you just, you got to hope that the universe is going to align with you and positive things are going to happen.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't want to see him hurt. Where can people find you?
We're most active on Instagram at True7 CBD. We also have a Facebook page at True7 CBD. We're on Twitter a little bit, Pinterest, LinkedIn. But again, all of those we're at True7 CBD, but most active on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. So do you have a website where people order from too, or is the links on your Instagram?
The links are on Instagram, but thanks for asking. www.true7cbd.com. Relief 7 days a week.
That's perfect. All right. Last question. What is the impact you hope to have on others with your CBD oil business?
Oh man, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. And I think this is the lasting impact that I want to have, not just in my CBD business, but in all phases of life. CBD guaranteed. But the impact we desire to have is ultimately about life. We provide relief 7 days a week, and our focus is on an active, engaged lifestyle. People getting up, people moving around, and people being active. Be it that weekend warrior competing in 5Ks, half marathons, triathlon, triathletes, Ironmans, the 9-to-5er that gets up at 5 a.m. and goes to the gym, or the 9-to-5er that's working out after work. We're promoting an active and engaged lifestyle. We also target that individual that's struggling to get off the couch, that individual that's in pain and desires to get up and move and engage and be active. We're an inclusive brand, and we want everybody just to be able to get up and participate in life and enjoy life. So True7 CBD, in one word, it's about life. True7 CBD, relief 7 days a week.
I love that. Great. Well, thanks for coming on. It was great talking with you.
Thanks for having me. We've been talking about this and jockeying. I mean, this has been amazing. I love the anticipation and the build up, and the show was even better.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do this again. New stuff coming out, changes. I want to follow you and how you're doing a little further down the road.
I appreciate it. And you too. You've been doing great with your podcast. Everybody listen, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review, and tell others about this podcast. And thanks for listening.
Great point. I always forget to say that.
It always sounds better when someone else says it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. All right. We'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time.
Take care.